It was the 29th of September, 2022, when I was hiding in my friend's place. The seventh place, to be exact, from the Syrian regime, when my parents came to inform me of the court's verdict, a court I was never called to for a crime I didn't commit. I opened the door, my father walks in, and he tells me, death sentence. I look at my mother, who was standing right behind him, crying, telling me, death sentence, Judy. You see, till today, I do not know what is harder, receiving the death sentence or hearing it coming out of my parents' mouth. I answered, coffee or tea? Because it was not the time to panic. Then was the time to plan how will I be smuggled to Lebanon. My checklist to being smuggled to Lebanon included baggy black pants, baggy black shirt, so baggy that they will hide any feminine attribute, water, fruit, food, and a small amount of money. So if I were to get harassed to give the money, then it's just a small amount. But I refused to leave Damascus, Syria, without seeing my home for the last time. So that night at midnight, as I snuck back in at home, and the amounts of details I have missed in a home I lived in almost all my life was amazing. I said goodbye to my room, the bed, the living room, the dining room, the kitchen, the balconies. I hugged my cat, Zaytune. I hugged my dad so tight. And then my mom. I tried to have my mom's smell imprinted on me somehow, because I didn't know when will I see her again. I then snuck back out again and spent my last night in Syria at a friend's place. The next day, 7:30 a.m., I was standing in a crowded roundabout. Children going to school, people going to their work, cars, buses. And I was wondering, were the people looking at me, do they know that this is the last time I'll be standing here? My thoughts got interrupted when I saw a white Kia Cerato. That was the car that I'll be start my smuggling trip in. There were 5 people in the car. And the first part of the trip included crossing multiple checkpoints. And at each checkpoint, my heart would beat so loud I could hear it in my head, because only one mistake could lead me to getting caught. Then the next part, suddenly we stopped and there were 7 more people in the car. At that point, we were 12 people in the car and I was sitting on top of 2 people in the front. When suddenly the driver stops, orders us to get out of the car and go into the bushes, because there was a Syrian car patrolling around, where we had to go in the bushes and duck down. And I was praying for many things at that moment, but one thing I was praying for was that the kid, the baby next to me, does not cry, because if that baby cried, we were all going to get caught. Some people say we stayed like this for 30 minutes, some people say hours. I lost track of time. When then we were ordered to get back to the car, and at that point I was sitting on the driver's lap. The trip to Lebanon, the 14 hours trip to Lebanon, included the car ride, walking, hiding, running, hiding again, a car ride again. And the next to the last part, we had to go up the mountains of Tripoli. And then it included a motorcycle ride. And when I say a motorcycle, I do not mean a fancy motorcycle. I mean a metal, very old motorcycle driven by a 15-year-old child. And there is someone in the middle, and then there's myself. And one wrong move from that child could have led us to our deaths. We then arrived to the smuggler's home, where then we took a car to Beirut. You see, in Beirut, I couldn't relax because I needed to plan what was my next step. As a Syrian, I cannot just book a ticket and go anywhere I want. We don't have that freedom of movement. When my thoughts sometimes get distracted when my dad will call me, my dad, and tells me, well, the corrupted man that he tried to reach in Syria asked for $70,000 for the possibility of clearing my name. Again, for a crime I didn't commit. I do not come from a rich family, so when I asked my parents, well, how are we going to secure that money? Simple. My dad said, well, we will sell our home. And the idea of having my two elderly parents homeless for the possibility of clearing my name did not sound so right. I refused that idea, and I kept looking forward. From July to November, I didn't have what you would call a panic attack, because I was running on a fight-or-flight mode. But it was on the plane to Sweden when I was watching a classic Christmas movie, The Holiday, when I looked up and I saw the word Stockholm. It was then I realized that I have lost everything. I have lost my home, my parents, my friends, my work, everything. And I am now in a new country where I know nothing about, no one in, to learn the language. And I have to start from zero. And it was then when I went to the restroom of the plane and I had my first panic attack. And the tears did not stop for months and months after. Why am I standing here telling you all of this? It's because I want to challenge two concepts, words, statements you often see linked to the word refugees. The first one is resilience. I hate the word resilience as much as I hate the words death sentence. I never asked to be resilient. I don't want to be resilient. I just wanted to be a 20-something-year-old girl living a very normal, boring life. And I do not take it as a compliment when someone comes up to me and tells me, oh, you're very resilient. The next concept, word, is that when refugees reach their country of destination, well, they should feel stable, safe, secure. Well, I can tell you something. That one letter from Migration Services 2 months ago investigating my status and maybe my permit shook me to my core. And it made me have what my doctor calls PTSD. And by the way, I still don't know the decision of that investigation, standing here today. But if I would say of what made me resilient, learn the language, get an internship and a job in a sector I really am passionate about, work in the language, pursue a master's, was not only the love and support that I got from my mom and dad and friends back home, my sister and friends in Berlin, friends and family all over, but it were the people I met here and their kindness. See, I have a Swedish family who embraced me since day one. I have 2 amazing Swedish parents and 3 amazing siblings. I have a previous supervisor who I like to call my godfather. I don't know if he likes that. His partner and his son, where they treat me like one of their own. And actually, he encouraged me to apply to this program. A woman I met through Language Cafe, where she did not only become my fika buddy, but her and her family became like my backbone. A colleague I didn't know introduced me to a colleague that lives in Sweden, where her and her daughter provided and still provide me with the sanctuary and remind me that I'm never alone. A woman that I met here, who she happens to become my sister, where her and her husband gave me 2 beautiful nieces. Colleagues of colleagues, colleagues who became friends, and friends who became best friends. And the women that I live with today, I'm so lucky to be living with. And if only I can just go back to Judy on the 29th of September and tell her that one day you will be standing on stage, sharing your story, and ending it with, I'm a proud Syrian, but I'm a very proud refugee. Thank you.